In our cursed hell, nothing fits. Since that time, when I was a kid and I saw petrified fossils on a TV show, I was tormented by that question. How is it possible for a frog to be morphed into a stone instead of rot like any organic body does? Let's see what Wikipedia tells us. Special rare conditions must be met in order for the fallen stem to be transformed into fossil wood or petrified wood. In general, the fallen plants get buried in an environment free of oxygen, which preserves the organic structure and general appearance. I understand this is dry British humor. If not, I will try to explain. You need some spontaneous disaster. For example, a volcanic eruption, tsunami, clay rain, which would quickly cover the frog and mammoth and make conserves from them, where bacteria won't decompose the corpse to the state of stinking manure. In other words, to make the body petrified, you need to cover or engulf the body and to compact it. According to so-called scientists, the tissue was organic, and then it magically turned into silicon. SiO2. Remember this formula. If you have ever buried your home pets, you can quickly run and dig them out. Your beloved pet is petrified, and you can put his statue on your table. Want to reproach me for such black humor? Redirect that to the official science community, which sells us such bullshit. A dead body has only two options. Dry up like an insect in a piece of amber, or the second option, just simply rot. Organic bodies will never turn into rubble. Never. This absurdity is invented to hide the truth. Magical morphing into stone is a little thing. Transforming wood into semi-precious stones, this is where the lies and ignorance become uncontrollable. Tell me how a stick of wood can become a semi-precious stone. You may have no answer, but I do, and we will discuss this later. For now, let's analyze what these gems show. I do not know about you, but I am confused by 3 points. First of all, according to the official story, these trees lost in an unequal battle against a neighbor volcano. Attention, 225 million years ago. But wait, there's more! This wood not only burned in hell's fire, not only rotted into the wet ground, against all the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology, just transmorphed into precious gems. David Copperfield is nervously smoking on the sideline. But this is not the end. Trees are not broken. Trees are sawn into even, accurate pieces. Well, I want to know the name of this brand of chainsaw that Aborigines use for this. I am joking, of course, but the conclusion is that this is not a museum, but stage theater. These trees were sawn and brought here by someone. You know, only a true fool would believe in the magical transformation of wood into precious stones and gems. Here's another question. For what purpose did they make this circus with all these scattered pieces of silicon life form? And did you pay attention to how small these silicon trees are? They are incomparable, even with the sequoias of California. But this one is simple. They are not trees. They are trees' branches, giant silicon trees. And these trees were so big that American sequoias near them look like sticks near the baobab. And while tourists are freaking out over these precious gems, no one is paying attention to the background, because everything is hidden in plain sight. To understand what I'm talking about, let's return to our favorite plot of grass. And I want to ask you, what do you see? A tree stump in the daisies? But I continue. This is mesa that was formed from the magnetic melt from the Earth's depths about 200 million years ago. Do not believe me? And now? Let me introduce to you, this is Devil's Tower, mesa, or so-called laccolith, that was formed from a magnetic melt from the Earth's depths about 200 million years ago. At least that's what Wikipedia tells us. And billions of people believe that this is mesa, laccolith, or a mountain. Really? Let's come closer to our tree stump to look at his fantastically inexplicable columns. Let's look in the Wikipedia ones again. Igneous rock is formed through the cooling and solidification of magma or lava. Really? What a smart magnetic melt! It's just stood still and froze in the appearance of perfect hexagonal column for 300 meters in the sky. You can synchronize your instruments with these miraculous columns. Were they squeezed out of cream injector, then tied in a bun like a broom, and then a big giant fan blew near to help the columns to curdle faster? Maybe the columns of Parthenon or Isaac's Cathedral were built in the same way. Gentlemen scientists, are you out of your mind writing this garbage? Humans, are you out of your mind believing this garbage? Claiming that this geometrical masterpiece appeared as the result of a lava fountain is the same bullshit as claiming that a racing car appears on the track because of an explosion at a Ferrari factory. Have you ever seen what a fountain of lava looks like? In those times, lava had artificial intelligence. Really? Comparative analysis. All columns are hexagonal. Why exactly hexagonal? Because the universe's masterpieces are built in this form. There are no snowflakes exactly the same, but all of them are in a perfect hexagonal shape. Bizzensun, without the knowledge of mathematics, correctly identified that the regular hexagon has at least perimeter among all the other shapes of equal area, so you can fill the shape most efficiently. When bees build honeycombs, they instinctively try to make them as roomy as possible and spend as little wax as possible. Hexagonal shape is the most efficient, economical figure for building honeycomb. Blind sheep cannot understand that our universe is fractal. That is why there is no difference in what scale you study it. In the scale of a mountain or the scale of a tree that everyone has outside their window. And now let's open a botany textbook. Let's find the structure of any plant and let's compare it with our giant stump. We won't go deep into this. We only want facts that fall into our hands from the stump's photos. So it will be useless to try to argue against those facts. I want to introduce you to the cross-section of a stem of flax. Well, well, gentlemen biologists, are you noticing anything? No? Look, it seems like honeycombs in the middle. Wowzers, and they are all hexagonal. Well, well, what a coincidence. If we remove skin around this flax, our stump skin is the same. Let's look at the small rocks around it, and guess what? Flax looks exactly like our stump from the bird's eye. They look identical. Exactly. The stump's fibers, like the fibers of the flax, has a hexagonal shape that is strictly preserved. It is geometrical the entire length of the stem, and that is as much as 384 meters. I want you to pay attention. The stump's fibers are even stricter in their proportion, as we learn from the botany textbooks. They are no different for the whole length, but are relative to each other. It is a branch of armature hexagonal cross-section after leaving the metal rolling mill. The fibers are not attached to each other, since they freely exfoliate and fall as the stone erosion goes. Each fiber out of our stump is covered with a thin skin, exactly like fascia, a thin sheath of fibrous tissue enclosing a muscle or other organ. As you see, petrified skin contacting winds and moisture is cracking, exfoliating, and showering, and this is direct evidence that the fibers of the stump consist of at least two components placed inside each other. Fibers do not go into the ground vertically. They gradually bend to transform into the root system like every tree does. As you can see, the official story of spontaneous and accidental solidification of lava is 100% bullshit and falling apart quickly. In 1977, Hollywood made a film called Close Encounters of the Third Kind, with Devil's Tower playing the main role, where we were told 100 times that this is a mountain where we can meet aliens, but this garbage is suitable for fools only. But where were your eyes, gentlemen? Hey, biologists, geologists, paleontologists, are you here? Do you study the world in a welder mask? And now, let's find out the height of the tree, which was a stump one day. Let's use the formula that I mentioned earlier. The diameter of our stump is 300 meters at the base. So if we calculate 300 over 20, we will get the height of, are you ready? 6 kilometers, 19,685 feet. Just think about it. Everything is learned in comparison. I think we can put a big fat dot in here. Devil's Tower is a giant stump of a giant silicon tree with all the attributes of a normal stump that everybody's seen. But we should not underestimate the matrix that keeps all the cattle in the stables. I am sure that after such clear evidence, there will still be deep sleeping people who will ask for more. If you think that that's all my arguments, I want to disappoint you, because I have so many trump cards up my sleeve, and I will enjoy every moment that I will throw them on the table. Well, we figured out everything about this stump. Let's move to another one.